Welcome back. Today we're going to be continuing with our French style cooking. We're going to make a gâteau aux pommes, which basically is apple cake. It's really easy to make and will likely become a favorite of yours. So enjoy.
You'll need 50 grams of brown sugar, 75 grams of normal sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla essence, 3 eggs, which seem to be smiling at us today, a teaspoon of baking powder, 125 grams of flour, 120 grams of butter, which we're going to melt, 3 to 4 apples for the filling, and then 2 for decoration. Now, because my apples are quite small for apple sizes, I've decided I'm going to do 1 extra, just in case I need a little bit extra. So I'm going to peel and chop them. Now, I am going to core my apples. Now, to do that, I've just cut the apple in half and very carefully with the knife, ideally facing away from me, I'm going to cut in an angle around the core. So I'm just going to rotate the apple, better fingers than body. So I've not quite got it, so I'm just going to have to go a bit wider, which is totally fine and quite normal. These appear to be quite dense in the core. Now while we're here, let's talk a little bit about the types of apples. You can really use any apple. For me, the best apple to use would be a nice sweet one. I quite like doing this with Granny Smiths, but I don't have access to those at the moment. So I'm just using some standard run-of-the-mill apples. Just grab them in a packet from the local supermarket, quite easy to do. So you can use any, it is, like I said, best with really sweet apples, just adds that little bit extra. This one just needs a bit of coring. So from here, I'm going to cut the apples up into almost like little squares. Well, that's what it looks like when I'm cutting it. I wouldn't go more than 1 centimetre. They're about that size. Just gonna pull this off. Now, some people will just put slices in the cake. I'm not the biggest fan of doing that. I don't think there's any real traditional way unless you're from a particular area. But for me, like it gives you this lovely bite when you bite into it, whereas if you have slices, it just feels like a big piece of apple in your cake. Now, I might not end up using all of this because, like I said, I put in an extra apple, but just in case, because it's better to have a little bit extra, and I can always eat it as a snack. I actually think the 4 that I had are going to be enough, so I'm just going to stick with this and I'll have a nice snack. So I'm going to mix my eggs and sugar. I always do my butter on the stovetop, stirring it constantly. In the microwave it tends to spear and bubble over and you tend to lose like a lot of your butter. So I'm just cooling it. Some air in it. Now I don't want to add like really hot melted butter because it'll start to cook the batter, so I'm just going to put it aside for a moment. Okay, I'm just going to add this melted butter in. It's lovely. Add all those apples. Just gonna put it aside for a sec, and I'm going to butter the cake tin. Ideally you do it in like a small round one, but I don't have any. So I've got a paper towel, I've folded it up, I'm gonna rub it on the butter. And I've got a bit of butter on there, and that's gonna last the whole tin and probably a bit more as well. Just spread it around using your paper towel. It's gonna help with it sticking. Okay. All ready to go. I'm gonna pour my mixture in. Now, I'm not gonna leave it at this. I'm gonna decorate this cake just to give it a little bit something extra. So I've got the apple that I had earlier, that leftover bit, and I'm looking at the shape of mine. I'm gonna actually cut it into quarters. I'm going to use that to kind of make really thin apple slices. So really careful with your fingers here. Now if you had a lovely round cake tin, you could make some lovely swirling patterns with these, but I'm not, so I'm going to make mine a little bit different. Okay, so I suspect that I'm going to need a bit more, but we'll see how I go. I think that should do for the moment. Like I said, if you had a full cake tin, you could go up. I'm just going to sprinkle a wee bit of sugar at the top, just so those top bits kind of caramelize a bit. Now ready for the oven. So we've put it in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius, and we're going to cook it for 40 to 45 minutes. So we're going to check that it's ready. We're going to do that by getting a skewer and stabbing it in a high part and making sure it comes out clean. So there you can see, lovely and clean, no mixture left on. So this is all ready to go.